had so many lonely nights. I got invited to a Christmas party. He would drive down to visit me in school, listen to me rant about school, even helped me with schoolwork sometimes. Eventually, the next day, I called housing up. I was like, I'm not spending another day in this apartment. Get me out now. I almost moved back to Nigeria after my first 3 weeks in Canada. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Eniola, but you can call me Ennis. I'm a lifestyle, fashion, beauty creator. In fact, a lot of things. I'm a podcaster as well. And I'm excited for you to be on my corner of the internet today. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. So, a lot of you have accused me of not sharing enough of my story, and you feel like a lot of the episodes I do on Young and Abroad are more focused on other people's stories. First of all, I didn't know you guys wanted to know me that much. Okay. Anyways, today I decided to give you the tea on how my first few weeks in Canada was. Honestly, I'm just going to go over how my entire first year of Canada was. It was rough. After my first 3 weeks, I was like, okay, cut the cameras. Let's wrap this up. Take me back. Take me back to my father's house. So quick backstory, just before I moved to Canada, a lot was going on. I was prepping for my move. My sister also recently got married, and it just felt like a lot of change was happening. It was going to be my first time in Canada. I didn't have any family here. My mom was supposed to travel with me and, help me settle, but her visa did not come on time. Like, a lot was happening. Even though I was filled with so much anticipation and excitement, I was also very scared. I can confidently say that I genuinely loved my life in Nigeria. I could hang out with my friends anytime. My next door neighbor was literally one of my closest friends. And once I landed in Canada, everything changed. So I arrived in Canada late August 2019, and I was welcomed by one of my sister's friends. Honestly, she made my first 3 weeks in Canada smooth. So I stayed with her my first 3 weeks. There was a few other people staying with her as well that recently moved from Nigeria. So it was a small community of just constantly good energy, good vibes, and I really enjoyed my time staying with her, even though it meant having to take an over 2-hour journey to school. So from her place to school was 2+ hours. Another thing is, buses did not get to where she lived, so I would have to take an Uber every day to a certain point before I could then take a bus and then a train and then I think a bus before I get to school. Honestly, I don't think it was that stressful, but maybe I've just forgotten the stress because it's been so long ago. So the main reason I stayed with her was because there was a delay with the student accommodation, but once all of that was sorted, I then moved into my student apartment. This is where the drama started. Tell me why my apartment had a roach infestation. Yeah, you heard right. It was not funny. I'm not even going to go into too much detail, but it was horrible. I remember going to the drawers and seeing some dead roaches, and I'm like, okay, maybe because people haven't stayed here in a long time, that's why. Let's clear. So I cleared everywhere, swept everywhere, cleaned everywhere down, and then I still started seeing a few other ones pop up, and I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Till I realized there was a whole infestation. I had to call maintenance. Maintenance guy came and he was like, wow, this is a lot. Long story short, I basically told them there was no way I was staying another night in that apartment because I think I had to spend 2 nights there. And God, funny enough, the next day was going to be my birthday. So I literally entered my first birthday in Canada in a roach infested apartment. I was so sad. I remember because Nigerian time, 12 midnight, friends and loved ones had already started messaging, saying happy birthday, calling. I remember just looking at my phone and just being like sad, like, God, what is going on? Eventually, the next day, I called housing up. I was like, I'm not spending another day in this apartment. Get me out now. Like, I was literally like going off. So immediately they gave me an emergency suite. It actually was like a suite. It didn't look like the regular student accommodation I was in. It actually looked like a hotel. The sheets were white, laid. There was a proper king size bed. I had a washroom. I had like everything was so spacious and neat and beautiful. So thankfully I was able to stay there for a couple of weeks till they gave me another student accommodation that was, roach free. Guys, it was honestly a traumatizing experience. I cannot even explain it. I remember then I had videos. It should probably be on my old phone, but you guys do not want to see it. There was basically like a nest in one of the storage rooms in my apartment. They had created a nest and they were literally pouring out of the nest. I am not even joking. I have never seen that many roaches in my life. Thankfully, like 2-3 days after my birthday, my mom landed in Canada and I was so happy. Honestly, having her around, helping me settle. She even helped me move into my new apartment. She was so amazing, and just having, part of home with me felt so much better. So I really enjoyed the time I had with her. So I think she stayed for about 3 weeks to a month. But yeah, she had to go back home, unfortunately. So I was back by myself. School had started, so I'd already started to adjust. Then the challenge of making connections came. So I would say that most of the connections I made during my masters were very surface level. So people would, chat and all of that in the school setting mostly. But outside of school matters, very rarely would people engage. And it was just something I didn't really understand. Yeah, it wasn't easy because that was my first time living alone ever. And I didn't have friends I could just hang out with after school, which was very different from my life in Nigeria. I also started to consciously think about, how to make friends, how to approach people. That was something I never had to do before. So it was just all strange to me, and honestly, I struggled. Gosh, if you're not new to this space, you've probably heard me talk about this a lot, so let's just breeze past it. So a few months down the line, in December of that year, December 2019, precisely Christmas, I think it was Christmas period, I got invited to a Christmas party, and I eventually made my first real friend in Canada. Now, when I say this, I'm not counting people that I knew in Nigeria, because I did have friends from Nigeria, but they just did not live in my city. So they only come to Toronto during their school breaks and just, spend a weekend with me or spend a week with me and then go back to their city. So this was my first friend in my city. To be honest, the person didn't even really live in my city, Gongo, but they live close to my city and they did come down to my city a lot. It made such a difference. That friendship literally saved me. He would drive down to visit me in school, listen to me rant about school. We spent a lot of time together. He was honestly a real G. So the loneliness did not really hit as much, but I still felt like I wanted, more friends around, more people. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the type of person that needs so many people around me. In fact, I like to keep my close circle small. But at least more than just one person. I was like, God, just give me extra. Give me extra friends. If you have just one more for me, I'll collect. But yeah, a few months down the line, fast forward to after my masters, I then had friends from Nigeria that were in other cities starting to move down to Toronto. So that helped a lot. We would hang out together during the weekends. Things definitely did pick up then. But just that initial first, couple months of just not having any connection, not being able to socialize. I couldn't talk to my loved ones back home anytime I wanted because of time difference. I had so many lonely nights. In case you're watching this video and you've moved to a new country, you're finding it rough, you are rethinking your decision, I can totally relate to, the frustration, the pain, and I'm sharing this story to encourage you that things will get better. Please don't lose hope. If you're an OG on this channel, you've definitely heard me say how friendship was a huge prayer point for me. For the longest time when I moved here, I always prayed about it, and I was specific on the types of friends I wanted, and I really asked God to bless me with friends that would help me be better, friends that would help me grow, because I truly feel like, especially if you're starting your life over in a new country, from the moment you land, the quality of the new relationships that you build would literally define your new life. So you need to be very selective, very prayerful, very careful about, making new friends. That way you'll be able to easily tell if someone is bad vibes or trying to take advantage of you, and immediately cut them off. You do need people on this journey. It is not one to walk alone. Life in general is not a journey to walk alone. Life in general is not a journey to walk alone. Okay, let me share something with you guys. It might be slightly premature, but I guess it might be something to look forward to. So the long-term goal of my podcast, Young and Abroad, is to actually build a community for immigrants that is like a safe space for us to connect, to bond, and actually build quality connections. We'll have hangouts, we'll have meetups. I'm putting it out here now and trusting that it will be something that will come to fruition. So this is why you need to share our content, engage, because I really do know what it feels like to live abroad and struggle. So I'd really like us to build that community together. Let me know what you guys think about the idea. So yeah, that's one way to meet new people if you are new to a country. Look for communities, look for groups on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. There are a lot of them that are targeted towards the Black community, towards immigrants, or even interest groups like art, photography. They typically have meetups, hangouts. There was one that I joined, but I never actually attended. I never attended a hangout. But yeah, don't be like me. Actually attend the events when they have them. Pull up and say hi to people. Okay, be bold and also be approachable. At least smile, be pleasant, because people want to know that they can actually walk up to you and you would give them a listening ear. Okay, let's do like 3 more places to meet people. Another place I would say is church. So that was one place that I met really, really solid, amazing people. Now I wouldn't recommend going to church just so that you can meet people, just so you can make friends. But honestly, even if that's the reason why you're going, I know that the Lord will redirect your heart to the right focus or why you should be in church. You can look for different churches in your area, or if your church back home has a branch, in the country that you're in or in the city that you're in, check it out, because it would most likely be the same quality of word, and you wouldn't have to, I guess, vet too much, because you do need to be careful about the type of church you go to, type of communities you join. There are a lot of weird things going on out there. Try a few churches. I did try a couple churches when I moved to Canada, and they were really great, but I prefer where I'm settled at now. Okay, let's do just one more. So this one is a bit controversial. I would say work. Now, I know people say, oh, don't be friends with your work colleagues. You need to be on guard. You need to be careful, which is true. But I do know people that have met their closest friends at the office, their best friends at the office. So I would say don't be closed off to it. Be open to meeting and connecting with people of different races, different cultures, and then they can introduce you to their friends. And like that, you meet new people. I also feel like I need to say this now. Be prepared for people to act funny. Be prepared for rejection. Be prepared for connections to end. Don't take it personally. It doesn't speak to your person. It might most likely be more about them than you. C'est la vie. Such is life. It happens. It might be that they were just meant to be in your life for a season, and not the long haul, which I know hurts, but you live and you learn. Another thing I'll say is still keep in touch with your friends back home. I know you might feel like, oh, they won't understand. It's just you against the world, but it would help a lot. I remember during my master's, I'll be on my way to class and be on my phone to my friends back home in Nigeria, because I know that that's the time that I can actually reach them. So I would walk into class and we'll be gisting and just having that laugh, that release before entering into my new world helped a lot. Talk to your loved ones about the struggles. They might not fully understand, but at least they'll be able to show up for you as best as they can. I mean, it wouldn't be the same like if you were seeing them in person, but it is something. I know that there's that tendency to want to now just really sit in that isolation and sit in that loneliness and really marinate in it. I'm speaking from experience, but yeah, don't do it. Okay? Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to give you a brief intro into how my life in Canada started. Let me know if you have any questions, any topics that you'd like me to discuss as well. Drop them below. I will definitely be in the comment section. I live in the comment section at this point. I'm always there. So yeah, make sure you say hi as well and subscribe. No, subscribe and then give this video a thumbs up. I will see you in my next one. Bye.